Gary, we had a little chat on Saturday before the Penabon game. Let's have a little bit more of an in-depth conversation today. Let's go back in time, shall we? You were a youngster kicking a ball around. Everybody wants to be a professional footballer, but at what point did you think, I could actually make this my career?
Well, I think it was just, you grow up loving football, especially the area where I was from, Liverpool. It's renowned for playing football, and I grew up in Liverpool playing football from a very early age, and it was something that I was always passionate about. I was sort of always getting shouted at school for not concentrating on my work, and I just wanted to play football, and that's how it all started.
And were you a red or a blue?
I was a blue, yeah, definitely an Evertonian. I used to go to the game, and always dreamt of playing for Everton when I was older. And that's, I think, like most kids when they're growing up, you sort of grow up following your team, and that's always your dream.
And that worked out quite well because you were with Everton in the academy setup for a brief period of time, but then you went to Stockport County at the age of 16.
Yeah, I was, as I was growing up, you sort of recruiting the best young players in the area, and I was at Everton. I got into it quite late, and never quite worked out for me. I think one of my problems, which sort of followed me for a few years in my career as I was growing up, was probably yellow and red cards, which I think was probably the final decide with that, and I ended up going to Stockport County, which I enjoyed. I had 3.5 years there as a YTS originally, and then signed professional.
And then you had a successful career playing in the English system with the likes of Doncaster Rovers, Blackpool, Hull City.
Yeah, no, it was after Stockport I went back non-league for a few years. I loved my time playing non-league football, and then got an opportunity to get back into the league, which was always my aim. And like I said, I started at Doncaster and got to move to Bury, and then went to Blackpool, obviously from there, and then moved on to Hull, and really enjoyed my career. Loved playing. Even now you're watching games, and although you enjoy the coaching or the managing side of it, you're always, I don't think playing, you can't be playing football.
And then you went to Chester City and you continued your move west because you went to TNS, but it was Total Network Solutions back in those days. How did that connection come around to move to TNS? Yeah,
I think when I left Blackpool to go to Hull, and I really enjoyed me stint at both them clubs, Blackpool, and I never wanted to leave Blackpool. But then I eventually went to Hull, loved my time there, and then didn't want to leave Hull. But things change, new ownership, new managers, and you move on. And from Hull I went to Torquay, who were quite ambitious at the time, but I sort of went there, and after signing I realised it wasn't what I wanted, and left my contract early to come back nearer home. Sort of started me concentration on the coaching side of things, and that's when I joined Chester, and from Chester come to TNS.
And how did that happen? Who approached you from Total Network Solutions? What was the contact?
Well, Kenny McKenna's a friend of mine, and I know he played for TNS when they were in Lance and Fried, and it was part-time club at the time, and whenever I had a day off, or I'd come up and watch the odd game now and again, and it sort of stemmed from there really, and the club grew into being full-time, and tried to improve things, and then I had an opportunity to come in as a, like I said, I come back to Chester learning me coaching as well as continuing to play, and it was an opportunity for me to come here as a player coach, so keep developing me coaching as well as carry on playing, and again I enjoyed my time here, and it was I've always stayed friends with the people at the club, and again come back and watch games, certainly the games in Europe and stuff like that, so I've always sort of kept an eye on things at the club, and stayed friends with Mike the owner and other people at the club.
And while you were still playing, obviously one eye on the future, was the coaching management pathway something that you intended to pursue if possible?
Yeah, I probably I probably never had one eye on that. I sort of went into the coaching, sort of like most footballers. You know, you never think it's going to end, and you don't want it to stop. And I sort of done it because I knew it had to be the next step. But I sort of concentrated and just wanted to keep on playing. And I went into the coaching side. Obviously, there comes a time when you have to stop playing, and I've enjoyed that, and I've sort of continued that journey, if you like, in terms of the coaching and always trying to develop and the management side, and I've enjoyed that too.
And as far as the management is concerned, you were involved at quite a high level within the English Football League system.
Yeah, well, last season I was working in the Championship, which was a great experience, and I've had, I've been fortunate to have played and coached and managed at good levels, and I'm really proud of that, and long may it continue, and I'm looking forward to this as well. It's a new role, a new challenge for me, and it's all part of, as well as trying to help the club, with their forward thinking for the future. It also helps me personally as well.
And just before we come to the new Saints in the present, let's stay back in the future, because as well as club football, you also played internationally. 3 caps for England C. Yeah,
that was a blast from the past. Yeah, but I remember when I had that stint when I spoke, I went non-league with Runcorn, and I had 3 fantastic years there. That's when I first met Kenny McKenna, actually, at Runcorn. We played together there, and during my time there, just before I got signed by Doncaster full time, I was selected for the England C team, which I really enjoyed that.
And one of those games was against Wales, where now, ironically, you are involved back again.
Yeah, it was. They were great games. I mean, you speak to anyone now, the games years ago between the British, England v Wales, or Scotland and Ireland, they were always great games, and that was no different. It was a great game. I don't remember too much about it, but I remember being a real physical encounter, and it was a great game.
And now you've been unveiled as the new Saints' first sporting director. Again, how did that connection come about?
I think, again, just conversations. Like I said, I'm still friendly with the owner, Mike, and it was, his vision for the club moving forward. He wanted a particular type of coach, which he's got in Anthony Limbrick, and he felt he needed someone else who could sort of bridge that gap between the football pitch and the boardroom level. And I think he sort of looked at my wealth of experience and our relationship, and I think that was key to his decision. And from my point of view, it's about always developing and improving, and it's a good opportunity for me to sort of have a go at this side of it. I think when I've my experience as a manager, that bridge between the board is sometimes difficult, and I think you need someone who understands what it's like to manage, what it's like to play, and what it's like to coach, and understand what it's like as well from top level, managing budgets, dealing with expectation. And I think my experiences will certainly help both the board and the management.
And on a daily basis, how do you envisage a typical day for you? Or is that like, how long is a piece of string?
Yeah, I think it was, it's probably like, in terms of management, you're 24/7. People say you switch off. Even, you might physically have a day off, but you're not meant. You're never off the phone, and that's been the case since I've come into the role. The phone hasn't stopped, and you go into games and watching training and just dealing with people all the time, and just there's a lot of work to do. I think it certainly is in the same category as a management in terms of it's going to be 24/7.
So once, especially when we get back to normal from the COVID-19 situation, are you likely to be around grounds in the UK or beyond watching games?
Yeah, and I think already clubs as well. As long as you're representing the club and as there's a realistic reason for why you're going to watch a game. There is ways of getting into games under the current rules, and that's the case. So I'm still in a privileged position where I can get into some games, and the work stopped in terms of that. It started in terms of that, but hopefully when everything gets back to normal, that'll be a big part of it, going about watching different players, different games, and being in here as often as I can as well.
And how many days a week do you intend to be at Park Hall, watching training, getting to meet the people and seeing how everything gels together initially?
Yeah, well, initially I want to get to know the people as much as I can, and spend as much time with them as I can. But it's I'm not putting any time on it. I don't think it's a case of just being here for the sake of being here. It has to be constructive, and I have a short-term plan which I'm sort of working to at the moment, as well as other plans. But I know what me structure is going to look like, and it's like I said, it's 24/7. There's so much to take into account, and the work's endless.
Well, away from the game, because that was going to be my final question, you've already alluded to the fact that you don't really switch off as such. But what do you like to do if you can take time out?
I think spending time with my families. It's that's my family is the thing I love passionately, probably only more than football. And it's I like to spend time with my kids, but they're used to me now when I'm working. I might be with them in body, but I'm not with them in spirit, because, like you said, you're never off the phone, and you can't really switch off.
Gary, thank you for the insight into your past today. We also look forward very much to the future as well. And again, all the very best in your time at the New Saints.
Cheers, thank you very much. Cheers.